world, the #1 black school psychologist in history, the #1 orator of the 21st century. As you all know, I promised you that on February the 14th, the 201st solar return of my great ancestor, the great Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey Douglas, to whom I am a blood relative, I promised you I would be giving you the FDMG school announcement. Well, for those of you who are tuned in right now, you are getting a special treat because I am no longer going forward with the February 14th announcement. Instead, I'm making the announcement today, February the 9th. Right now, I am making the announcement. This is the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy announcement. Today is the 9th. 9 represents the ancestors. And so what better day than to let you all know what's going on than today. Four and a half years ago, April of 2014 to be exact, I received a phone call right here where I'm sitting. I was told that there was a historically black college for sale in St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia. I had never heard of St. Paul's College, but I immediately started doing my research. And my research led me to come to understand that the founder of St. Paul's College, Father Russell, had been a good friend to one of my greatest heroes and ancestors, the great Booker T. Washington. And I did even more research to learn that the great Dr. George Washington Carver, the mathematician and botanist and agricultural scientist that he was, actually came to St. Paul's College to pay a visit to Father Russell, the founder. So we began a fundraising campaign immediately. St. Paul's had chosen an auction company, Motley's. And Motley's auction was responsible for selling the campus. I called them up, told them I wanted it. I didn't have any money. They said, well, see how much you can get. Put in the bid. Let's see what happens. So I sent in the bid paperwork. I had a lecture in St. Louis that was scheduled not too long after that. I collected my very first public donation for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy at my St. Louis, Missouri lecture. And I want to say thank you right now. Thank you to the brothers and sisters of St. Louis, Missouri for giving me that very first donation. I wasn't comfortable asking you all for money. Those of you who were there probably remember that I wasn't comfortable. I had never asked for money publicly, and I didn't want to because I just seen the black community get swindled and hustled so often, with public collections that I did not, want that for myself. But, excuse me for 1 second, brothers and sisters. But anyhow, I collected it, and that money that was raised in St. Louis, I think it was approximately $500, was used to pay an attorney in New York to put forward the bid on my behalf for the St. Paul's College. They invited me down to St. Paul's. I went on a tour. I loved it. For a mere $2 million, you would get an entire historically black college for just $2 million. So I started asking people to send in their checks and money orders payable to the FDMG Academy. I immediately went to the bank, and at the bank, I started an account for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. And you started sending in your donations. I started getting complaints from black people that it was too inconvenient to have to mail in a check or money order. They recommended that I start some sort of online fundraising platform for people who were too lazy to go to the mailbox. So we started accepting money from PayPal. That got to a certain point, and PayPal had discontinued that fundraiser. The money is still there. We still have it, and we will be using it. But they said that they would need further paperwork in order for them to allow me to continue to collect money through PayPal. So anyhow, we went back to the checks and the money orders and the donations at the lectures, which didn't come that frequently. Most of the donations had come by check and had come by money order. So once again, the rambling started, and brothers and sisters said, it's too inconvenient to keep on sending in these checks and money orders. If we can't send the money in through PayPal, then you need to start some sort of online platform, because PayPal is a money exchange system, but it's not necessarily an online fundraising platform, although you can fundraise through it. So I started doing some research, and I looked at Kickstarter, and I looked at all the different online platforms, because that really was not my milieu. I'm a social scientist, not a fundraising expert. So we went with GoFundMe, and things started to go fine for a while. I wasn't really interested in doing GoFundMe because they take money out. I think GoFundMe gets between 3 and 5% of the money, and then we pay, which is GoFundMe's financial management company that actually transfer the funds. They get about 3 to 5%. Overall, almost 10%, I believe, of the money collected go to them. So we started raising money. And then in 2015, a poor decision on my behalf led to a certain individual who decided to try to assassinate my character and destroy the fundraising campaign because she did not get what she wanted from me. And so she started spreading rumors that I was spending the FDMG Academy money on her, which is quite interesting, because if that were the case, that means there should be some sort of paper trail of me using the FDMG credit card or writing some sort of FDMG check to a hotel, to a vacation company, to a restaurant, to somewhere, airline. There should be some track record of monies being spent from our account for her benefit, which was totally false. It was totally bogus. I was asked to try and defend myself from those rumors, which I chose not to get involved in. And the reason I chose not to get involved in it is because I knew that most of you who have media outlets, be they Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, whether it be an online radio show or whether it be a regular broadcast radio show, I knew, my wisdom had told me, my ancestors had communicated to me that, Dr. Umar, you need to leave that situation alone, because no one is after the truth. They don't care about the truth. They want drama. They want sensationalism. And the very worst thing you can do is get involved in trying to defend yourself from people who could care less of whether you're guilty or not. They just want attention. Okay, they just want to see drama. So I stayed away from it. I never listened to a single interview. I didn't participate in a single interview. For the first time a couple of weeks ago while I was in Atlanta, because I saw that the school purchase deal seemed to be likely to go through. So I said, you know what, we're going to get this school. So let me listen in on some of this garbage that went on a couple years ago. So I listened to an interview that was done with her, and I thank God that I never listened back in 2015, because had I listened 4 years ago, definitely, had I listened 4 years ago, I probably would have felt the need to respond. The lies were excessive. The lies were preposterous. And the lies were absolutely ridiculous. Now, what perturbed me even more than her conduct was the conduct of black men and women who claim to be conscious, who claim to be advocates for our people, who were interviewing this woman, and not a single person dared to ask her the most important question that could be asked. And that is, what proof or evidence can you produce that shows this man has mismanaged even a penny of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy money? All the interviews that were done, not a single person asked the question of evidence. They were so happy to see that the most popular and the most powerful and the most successful and internationally renowned scholar in this country right now of our race was at the brink of being destroyed. And they couldn't resist the opportunity to run in and try to destroy me, but it did not work. But after she was done, other Negroes rushed in. Many of the personalities in the conscious community, many of those who you listen to on YouTube, had something negative to say about me and the fundraising campaign. And I was amazed because many of these people I had helped, many of these people made money selling my merchandise, many of these people had brought me in for lectures, but the minute they saw an opportunity to disgrace my name and get some YouTube views, they joined in on the conspiracy of 2015. But that's 4 years ago. We need not wallow in that. I'm simply recounting some of the struggle that has taken place on the road to getting to where we are now. And that is, brothers and sisters, that is. And I am happy to say that it is, that as I sit here on the 9th day of February, on the 9th day of the most important Black History Month in American history. And I call it that because this is the year of the quadricentennial. This August, we crossed the finish line of 400 years of fighting against white racism and oppression in these United States of America, counting from the day that our ancestors were first brought here in August of 1619. August the 20th of 1619, they arrived. August the 21st of 1619 would have been their first sunrise under white power. And so on August the 21st of 2019, we will commemorate, we will remember 400 years of the struggle of our ancestors to bring us to where we are. We may not be in a great place, brothers and sisters, but we are in a much better place than where we were 300 years ago, where we were 400 years ago, and where we were, 100 years ago. So, brothers and sisters, I am here today to let you know that we have succeeded. To all the brothers and sisters who donated, who supported me through the thick and the thin, this has been a very long 4.5 years, brothers and sisters. A very long 4.5 years. And I'm just glad to say that we have our school. I am here today, brothers and sisters, to let you know that we have our school. With that being said, for those brothers and sisters who swallowed some of the Kool-Aid that was being sold to you by Hotep hustlers, con artists, and others in our community who, through whatever way, influenced you to stop supporting Dr. Umar Johnson, I forgive you. And I thank you for the fact that you did donate at some point in this 4.5 year struggle to purchase this school. I thank you anyway. I would probably argue that no more than 12 people out of the tens of thousands of donations that we have received, no more than 12 people out of the tens of thousands of donations that we have received, no more than a dozen, had decided to stop donating. Okay, no more than a dozen. Okay, 99.9% of all of you who supported me in the beginning supported me all the way up to the end. The letters of support, the letters of encouragement, the letters of faith, the prayers that you all sent forward on behalf of your brother. I can't thank you enough, because there were a couple times when I said to the ancestors, this is getting to be too much. It was getting to be too much. And I said that what I'm going to do is I'm going to refund all of the money to everybody. Let me just give it all back. And let me just go back to being a regular rank and file school psychologist. Let me go ahead and get my license and just do what I'm going to do, because this is just getting to be too much. But the ancestors said, no, we chose you, and you were chosen for these times. And if you quit now, you don't not only quit on yourself, you don't quit on black boys everywhere. You don't quit on your donors, but you quit on your ancestors. These same ancestors that you claim that you care so much about. These same ancestors that you want to validate and verify and honor on August the 21st of 2019, you quit on them. So the ancestor said, Ifa Tunde, do what you must do, and you keep on going. So through the 4 years when I would go to the slave dungeons in Ghana and Senegal, when we would go to the different spiritual towns in Togo and Benin and South Africa, when I was in Malawi and Kenya and Egypt, and taking the cruise down the Nile River this past summer through Kemet and Ethiopia, I just called on all the ancestors to bring me the power and the strength that I needed to see this thing through. And they finally did it. So to my donors, I want to thank you. And it's so many of you, so many donors. I want to just name some. I have about 20 of these books right here, and we're right now converting all of the written information to computerized information. We're putting all this in a chart because we want to properly honor all of the donors at a special ceremony at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. So just to say thank you to a few, this isn't everyone. This is no one from PayPal. This is no one from GoFundMe. And one of the reasons I need you brothers and sisters who donated from PayPal and GoFundMe to get your receipts is you're going to send all that to me, okay, to help me make sure that you are giving credit for the donations that you have contributed. So I'm going to contact GoFundMe and try to get all that donor information. I'm sure I should be able to pull it up on PayPal, but you would be such a big help to me if you would start collecting all your money now so that we can keep all of that and make sure that we log it correctly in our donor database. I also plan down the road, in keeping with in the tradition of the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who had the Black Star Line steamship company, which he incorporated 100 years ago. So the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy is coming 100 years on the 100-year anniversary of the birth of the Black Star Line Steamship Corporation. That was 1919, and here we are in 2019. That was 1919, and here we are in 2019. So, brothers and sisters,